Under DGCA Annexure 1, a pilot's license functions as the strict legal permission required to operate an aircraft. Today, we are mapping the precise operational requirements that govern the progression from a private pilot license to the airline transport pilot license. If you are preparing for your DGCA Air Regulations exams, subscribe for technical breakdowns of these training modules. The matrix begins with baseline physiological metrics. The minimum age for a private pilot license is 17. This requirement increases to 18 for a commercial pilot license and 21 for the ATPL. Commercial operations stop at age 65. This cap exists because age eventually impacts the reflexes and decision-making speeds necessary for flight safety. To maintain these licenses, a Class 1 medical is mandatory. Under 40, a medical is valid for 1 year. Once a pilot turns 40, validity drops to 6 months to ensure more frequent monitoring of physiological changes. For exam purposes, remember that medical validity begins on the exact date of your physical examination, rather than the date the final report is issued. Regulations also require pilots to inform the authority and renew their medical after 15 consecutive days of illness or 7 days of hospitalization. These medical validity rules function as an early warning system, identifying physiological risks before they enter the cockpit. The private pilot license requires 40 flight hours. This permit allows for solo flight but carries a strict prohibition against flying for remuneration. 200 flight hours form the baseline for a commercial pilot license, logged within the last 5 years to ensure currency. The DGCA divides this into 2 categories: 100 hours of dual instruction and 100 hours as pilot in command. Within that pilot in command time, 15 hours must be logged in the immediate 6 months prior to the license application. The CPL also demands 20 hours of cross-country navigation. In aviation, 1 nautical mile is defined as precisely 1.852 kilometers. The requirement includes a 300 nautical mile round trip completed in a single day, across 3 100-mile legs. DGCA mandates full stop landings at each destination. By forbidding touch-and-goes, the regulator ensures pilots safely manage full arrivals at unfamiliar aerodromes. Night flying significantly alters depth perception and can create dangerous visual illusions that do not exist during the day. To account for this, the CPL requires 5 hours of night flight as pilot in command, including 10 takeoffs and 10 landings, completed within the last 6 months. Basic instrument training requires 10 hours of flight by reference to cockpit dials. Half of this time can be logged in a simulator, with the remaining 5 hours completed in an actual aircraft. This experience ensures a pilot can navigate and land across standard distances in familiar weather conditions. Adding an instrument rating to a CPL does not change the total flight time requirement, but it dramatically alters how those 200 hours are distributed. Unlike the long-term validity of the CPL, the instrument rating must be renewed every single year. This table highlights the shift. The solo cross-country requirement jumps from 20 hours to 50 hours to build more robust navigation experience. In conditions where thick fog or clouds completely eliminate ground visibility, pilots must operate strictly under instrument flight rules. Required instrument time increases from 10 hours to 40. At least 20 of those hours must take place in an actual aircraft. At least 5 of those instrument hours must be logged within the 6 months preceding the rating application. These recency rules exist because the ability to process instrument data in zero visibility conditions degrades rapidly without continuous practice. The airline transport pilot license represents the final tier, requiring 1,500 total flight hours. Recency standards increase. A pilot needs 150 hours in the last year and 10 hours in the last 6 months. The requirement includes 500 hours of combined command or co-pilot time. This can include pilot under supervision time, where a co-pilot performs the duties of a commander while supervised by a check pilot. Cross-country requirements expand to 1,000 hours, matching the point-to-point reality of global airline schedules. Night flying requirements increase to 100 hours to prepare for the 24-hour nature of commercial airlines. Total instrument time must reach 100 hours, with a minimum of 50 hours logged in an actual aircraft. The DGCA limits basic simulator time to 25 hours toward ATPL requirements, prioritizing time in the actual flight environment. For exam preparation, note that exactly 50% of standard co-pilot time is credited toward the total flight time requirements. However, if that co-pilot time is flown under the supervision of a check pilot, 50% of that time is credited directly as pilot in command experience. Ultimately, the airline transport pilot license provides a mathematically verified, stringent ledger of supervised, heavy iron experience for every captain. A valid license allows you to hold the credential, but legal currency determines if you are permitted to fly today. Airline pilots must complete line checks every 12 months. These remain valid until the final day of the month they were issued. To act as the pilot flying, you must have completed 3 takeoffs and 3 landings within the last 90 days. A pilot without an instrument rating can command at night, provided they have completed 1 night landing as the pilot flying within 90 days. Route familiarity requires the pilot in command to have flown that specific path within the previous 12 months. Acting as pilot in command at a specific aerodrome requires 3 takeoffs and landings at that location within 3 months. While validity is an administrative status, currency is the legal requirement that prevents skill degradation. CPL holders may fly aircraft under 5,700 kilograms without a specific type rating if the aircraft is endorsed on their license. Heavier jets require specific, intensive type rating programs. Pilots with a multi-engine instrument rating are authorized to continue flight under instrument flight rules, even if one engine becomes inoperative. Multi-crew regulations state that if one pilot is age 60 or older, the second pilot must be under the age of 60. This safety redundancy ensures that a single flight deck does not contain 2 pilots who are both within the age bracket for peak physiological risk. The requirements in Annexure 1 establish the codified boundaries of human performance necessary to protect passenger lives. Subscribe to our channel to keep mastering these aviation regulations. Studying DGCA Chapter 3 on personal licensing requires analyzing the exact legal blueprint for commanding a commercial aircraft in India. We will examine the specific regulatory requirements and operational privileges necessary to meet the standards for this exam. This diagram outlines the 4 chronological pillars of Indian pilot licensing: the student, private, commercial, and airline transport pilot license. Acquiring each subsequent license requires meeting strict, escalating thresholds across 4 categories: minimum age, educational baseline, medical fitness, and logged flight hours. For the DGCA examinations, understanding general concepts is insufficient. Success requires memorizing these specific regulatory parameters, hour breakdowns, and exam combinations. To receive this level of high-yield exam preparation consistently, make sure you subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation strictly aligns legal flying authority with tested competence. A pilot cannot advance their career or carry passengers until every regulatory benchmark for their specific tier has been fulfilled. This data matrix breaks down requirements for each license. The bedrock is the Student Pilot License, or SPL. The baseline educational minimum is 10th standard, alongside a minimum age of 16. Candidates must hold a Class 2 medical certificate. A 1-year Class 1 medical from an Army hospital is optimal early on, but the Class 2 certificate remains the student regulatory baseline. The SPL is officially issued by the DGCA, but the examination itself is administered locally by a flying school's instructor. This is an oral Viva exam. You must prove basic competency across 4 mandatory subjects: air regulations, meteorology, general navigation, and technical specificities tied to your training aircraft. The student pilot license then carries an extended 10-year validity. The operational limits are tight. You fly strictly under instructor supervision, visual flight rules are mandatory, and carrying passengers is expressly forbidden. To log your initial cross-country flights, there is a strict prerequisite. A student must log a minimum of 10 hours solo before attempting a 100 nautical mile radius A to B flight within Indian territory. The SPL grants 0 independent operational privileges. It exists entirely as a supervised learning parameter to establish initial flight competencies. We transition to the private pilot license, designed for personal, non-commercial flying. The minimum age increases to 17, with a 10th standard educational requirement. Written DGCA exams for meteorology and general navigation are now mandatory. Notice the change in license validity. It drops from the 10 years granted for the SPL down to 5 years for the PPL. This segmented bar chart displays the PPL flight time. You log exactly 40 total hours, 20 hours dual instruction, 10 hours solo, 5 hours instrument rating, and a 5-hour proficiency buffer. Achieving this tier establishes a major privilege upgrade, the legal authority to carry passengers independently. Even with independent passenger authority, the DGCA maintains a strict prohibition on remuneration. A PPL cannot legally be used to fly for hire or advance a commercial aviation career. The commercial pilot license is the professional milestone. This is the stage where operational remuneration becomes legal. For the CPL tier, the academic baseline rises to 10+2 with physics and maths, and a minimum age of 18. A Class 1 medical is mandatory, and you must clear all 6 written DGCA exams, including air regs, MET, navigation, and radio telephony. At this tier, the license validity period reverts to 10 years. This pie chart maps out the commercial flight hour requirements. While 200 hours is the baseline, airlines demand 200 hours plus an instrument rating. We separate the core subset. Exactly 100 hours must be logged as pilot in command, or PIC. Within those 100 PIC hours is a nested requirement, 5 hours of night PIC, including 10 takeoffs and landings. Next is the cross-country subset, requiring 50 hours of cross-country solo flight. You must complete a 300 nautical mile solo route test, landing at 2 distinct aerodromes. Returning to our chart, the instrument flying requirement mandates 40 hours total. Those 40 hours of instrument flying must be split precisely, 20 hours inside the actual aircraft and 20 hours logged in a simulator. Fulfilling this matrix confers the primary professional privilege, the legal authority to fly for remuneration. While you hold commercial authority, the privilege is capped. You can act as pilot in command, but only for aircraft weighing up to 5,700 kilograms. Commanding heavy commercial jets requires a higher level of certification. The Airline Transport Pilot License is the final operational tier. It is the specific legal requirement needed to transition from a first officer to a captain on heavy commercial jets. The final baseline parameters set in. The minimum age is 21 years old, and you must hold a current CPL and an active Class 1 medical. The academic load includes advanced examinations in meteorology, general navigation, and radio navigation. General navigation and radio navigation require clearing both written tests and an oral Viva exam with a strict 70% passing minimum. This bar chart highlights the massive jump in flight time, from the CPL's 200 hours to a total of 1,500 hours. The core demands 500 hours as pilot in command, while cross-country scales to 1,000 total hours, with 200 logged solo. And of those 1,000 cross-country hours, at least 50% must be logged specifically acting as pilot in command. The night flying subset totals 100 hours, which must be split equally, 50 hours of night cross-country and 50 hours of night PIC. Finally, the instrument rating requirement dictates 100 total hours of instrument time, split into 50 hours in the actual aircraft and 50 hours simulated. Completing this process establishes unrestricted authority to act as pilot in command on aircraft over 5,700 kilograms without weight limitations. The ATPL represents an exhaustive accumulation of raw experience that functions as the legal basis for the command authority of an airline captain. Looking back at our completed schematic, we see the complete structure of the 4 DGCA licensing pillars. The variables scale predictably. Age minimums progress from 16 to 21, while flight experience requirements scale from 0 to 1,500 total hours. The DGCA framework ensures that a pilot's legal operational authority expands only as they provide proof of logged experience. Memorizing these exact hourly thresholds, route distances, and exam permutations is necessary for passing Chapter 3 of the DGCA regulatory exam. For more meticulous DGCA exam preparation, subscribe to the Pilot Arnav channel. Passing this exam demonstrates an understanding of these requirements. Mastering this matrix is the foundational step required to transition from the classroom to the flight deck.